Hi everyone, today we're doing this super fun, bold eye look. It was just kind of impromptu using a bunch of products that I haven't used in a long time, trying to rediscover them, and I'll show you how I do kind of a bold wing, bold lashes, and bold eyebrows, so please enjoy. So I'm beginning with the Makeup Forever Ultra HD stick in the shade 117 Marble. And I'm applying a generous amount with my fingers and then blending it out with a wet beauty sponge. This is the Morphe sponge, and I'm doing that because I want more coverage. I'm adding the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation in the shade 120 Classic Ivory on top, and doing that same technique of applying it to my face and then blending it out. If I wanted a lighter coverage, I would apply it to my hand, then with my sponge, then to my face. I'm using the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer in the shade Light Sand, and using that for my eyes and for eyeshadow primer, and following that up with some very light powder. This is the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish in the shade Light Plus, and I'm just lightly dusting it all over my face because I want a sheer application. I don't want it to be too cakey or heavy because these are both kind of heavy foundations that I have on, and it's a pretty full coverage face. I'm going to be following up with a bronzer, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and I'm actually going to be using a fan brush, which is not a very common way of applying bronzer, but it actually provides kind of both a precise and diffused application, which I like. So I'm doing it on the temples and upper part of my forehead, as well as the lower part of my cheeks. And then I'm taking a NARS blush in the shade Luster, which is like a deep terracotta. I was in the middle of taking my nail polish off, so that's why I have nail polish on like 2 fingers, so apologies for that situation. I'm using a Real Techniques blush brush and just taking it on the side of my cheeks lightly because it's a pretty intense shade. Now for highlight, I'm using Soft and Gentle from MAC Mineralize Skinfinish, and as the name suggests, it's a really soft and gentle highlight. I'm taking the Sephora 98 Pro brush and dusting it on the top of my cheekbones. This highlight is really not super blingy. It's not going to look like you have a stripe of eyeshadow on your face. It's just really soft, so that's why I'm applying it kind of everywhere generously. And it actually looks really nice in this lighting. For eyeshadow, I'm taking this gray tone from the Venus palette from LimeCrime because I haven't used it in months. And I'm rubbing that all over my crease as well as the upper lid, just messily to get a nice wash of color. I'm using all of these products because I haven't used them in a long time, and I'm trying to rediscover some old favorites or some forgotten items. So next I am taking that same shade and applying it to the outer and inner third of my eyes on my eyelid. So also putting it right on the top of the center of my lid in that crease, and then on the sides, either side of my eyelid. Just blending that out a little bit. And then taking this super light reflective champagne shade, and this is called Aura. It's one of the actually most intense type of champagne shades that I own, this really light vanilla color. And so I'm just using a tiny detail brush and applying it really lightly to kind of the ball of my eye. And bringing it all the way up to the top of my lid, but focusing it on the bottom of my lid. I'm just reapplying some of that gray shade that got lost, and also just blending those colors together. And then I'm going to apply a little bit of that vanilla champagne shimmery shade on my Cupid's bow and in the inner corners of my eyes, as well as right underneath my eyebrow on my brow bone, because I love a good strong eyebrow highlight. I'm taking this bright pink that has a gold shift. It's like a peach with a gold shift. The gold is not showing up on camera very much, but it's kind of a reflective shimmer. And I'm packing that on my lower lid with like a dense dome brush. And then taking this red, this pretty saturated medium tone red, putting that right into the corner of where my lid meets the rest of my eye. Just really packing it in to get a nice intensity. And then blending out the edges with a fluffy brush. The key to making it not look too sloppy is by not blending it out too far. So you want to blend out a lot, but you don't want to take that blending brush all over your lid up into by your eyebrow. You want to keep it kind of localized so that it just is kind of diffused, but only in that area. I'm now taking a matte peach, and that's how I'm going to kind of, blow it out, make it more of a gradient. Rather than blending that red shade all over, you're going to just move up to a simply lighter color so that way it'll kind of look like it's shifting from the red to the pink. And I'm reapplying some of that red just to make sure I don't lose the intensity, and then I'm actually just kind of stippling that blending brush just to avoid it getting, messy. And then right in that area, you can see where my brush is. I'm making sure I have a lot of eyeshadow applied there so that, the eyeshadow above my eye and below my eye connect, and that it kind of, smokes out in that area. I'm going to be taking this super dark brown with a MAC 212, which is just like a flat shader brush. And this is going to be used right on my lash line. As you can see, I'm just kind of pressing and wiggling it. I'm not rubbing the brush along my lash line or gliding it along, because that is actually going to cause a lot of fallout, which would be really annoying with a shade that is this dark. It would make the eyeshadow fall onto my cheeks. So instead, I'm just, kind of pressing and wiggling. Okay, and now I'm going to go in with a really strong, bold winged liner today, because I haven't done that in a million years, and it would suit this kind of bold eyeshadow look. Sometimes when you're using a lot of reds and pinks, it can make your eyes look a little sickly, and like you've been sick, like you have allergies or something, like your eyes are red and puffy. So to avoid that, that's when you're going to need to add a lot of definition. You're going to want to do eyeliner, mascara, lashes, whatever. That will help minimize the appearance of like irritated eyes. So I'm using the Kat Von D liner in Trooper, I think it's called. It's a super, black eyeliner, but I started running out, so I switched to this Eyeko eyeliner. And as you can see, I started with the wings so that they can be pretty symmetrical. And I'm angling them kind of towards where the end of my eyebrow will be, and working inwards with short strokes. Because I haven't done this type of eyeliner in a long time, I'm really taking my time to not mess up. If I'm doing this kind of thing every day, eventually it'll take me like 5 seconds, but I'm just really being careful here. And I'm slowly building it up thicker and thicker, because I do want this to be like a really bold liner look. I'm now taking a black pencil and just rubbing it along the bottom lash line. Some people like to do this type of thing with a liquid liner, but it can sometimes get messy. I put on some mascara that was the L'Oreal Voluminous, and these are Flutter lashes in the shade Intoxicating. And I'm using a black lash glue because my eyeliner is so thick that it won't really matter. And it's from House of Lashes. As you can see, I've applied them to one eye and not the other. They make a big difference. And I'm just doing a light, even coating, like a medium. I wouldn't say a light coating, I'm doing like a medium coating of the glue, making sure that I get either end really well coated so that they don't pop off during the day. And this particular glue is pretty thin and quick drying, so I really only need to wait 30 seconds to a minute for it to get tacky. This is the lipstick I'm using. It is a liquid lipstick in the shade Cashmere by LimeCrime, and it kind of matches that gray I was using on my eyes. Okay, for the lashes, I'm just applying down and then pressing in just on the center with tweezers. Then I move into the edge, press them in, and then move into the inner corner, gently press that in. The key is really to make sure that your glue has gotten really tacky, really sticky. Make sure that it's almost dried, so that way it's not messy, it's not going to slip around. You stick it on and boom, you're done. I'm just gently kind of pressing them down, pressing them in, making sure that they're on there secure and that they're kind of shaped how I want. It's finally time to do my eyebrows. I'm brushing them out with a brush spoolie, and I'm using an eyebrow product I haven't used in forever, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pomade. This is in the shade Medium Brown, and I'm taking that angled eyebrow brush and starting at the end of my brow. I always start at the end of my brow because that's where I want it to be the darkest and the most defined. And I'm slightly extending the tail end of my brow. And because this eye look is so dramatic, I'm doing my brows a little darker, a little more defined, and a little thicker than I normally would. I'm doing kind of quick, light strokes. As I slowly work in toward the front as the product leaves my brush, so that the darker part will be the end of my brow and the lighter part will be the front, because I don't want those kind of boxy, square looking brows. I'm going to take actually the same product, which is that brow pomade by Anastasia, but I'm going to use it in a lighter shade, and this is the shade Taupe. And that is what I'm going to use to fill in the very front of my brow, just to make sure that it's not too dark, not boxy. You can use the same shade just with a lighter hand, a lighter application, and fewer strokes, but this way I can make sure that I can, you know, get as much coverage of eyebrow product on there as I want without it being too intense. And sometimes I move the brush upwards to kind of imitate brow hairs. I did notice that I did need a little bit of definition on the bottom. Usually you want to do darker on the bottom so it looks like there's a shadow of hair, like you have like thick, heavy hair that's kind of creating a shadow on the bottom. And I also wanted to redefine the shape a little bit and just kind of emphasize the arch of my brow. So I'm going back in over the top a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to go in a little faster on the other side. Once again, slightly extending the end of my brow, doing darker on the end, working my way inwards, emphasizing the arch, and using a lighter touch and lighter shade of product near the beginning of my brow, but also being darker and more intense on the bottom that kind of bottom line of the brow to make it look like a shadow. I have boxes in the background because I'm moving right now, so please ignore that. I was looking in the mirror and I felt like I needed a little bit more color on my cheeks, so I'm taking this blush by Ofra called Candy Apple, which is a really intense coral, and I'm mixing that with this super kind of bubblegum baby pink from NARS called Matahari. Mixing those together and just applying, kind of following the natural angle of my face and my cheeks. And I think that looks pretty nice. I just felt like my cheeks were getting a little overwhelmed by my eyes, so I wanted to make sure that with this super light foundation that I wasn't looking like a ghost. Okay, and I'm just kind of evaluating how it looks, and I think I wanted to add some lip gloss. So this is one from Victoria's Secret that has kind of an iridescent shift. It's like a blue pink with a gold shift. So it's kind of iridescent I mean, it's not true holographic, but it's got that opalescent feel, which is really beautiful. And that is the end. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed or learned something, and yeah, it's just really fun, bold, with a whole bunch of products that I haven't used in a million years, so it was fun to rediscover them. Okay, thank you for watching.